Namaste, my friend. How are you? I hope you are feeling really well. My name is Cindy and I love yin. And this channel is for people like you who are looking for a little bit of balance in their life. So people who want to relax, restore themselves and reconnect to who they are. So if that's you, go ahead and subscribe because I have got a lot of videos coming up for you that are all about just taking a beat to reconnect with yourself and give yourself a moment in life to just be. So today's yoga practice, we are going to release some stored emotion, basically. So all you need are 2 blocks. You don't really need these. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. You can do this whole sequence without them. If you do, awesome. You may use them, you may not. But we will just have them nearby. So we're going to start by coming into a pose called dragon pose. So if you are using your blocks, bring your blocks to the front of your mat and then just bring 1 foot forward, making sure that your ankle is just a little bit in front of your knee. What you don't want, we'll be holding this pose for a while. What you don't want is this, your knee in front of your ankle. This is a lot of stress on this joint. So we want to keep ourselves safe because we want to feel better, right? We don't want to make things any worse for ourselves. When we are in the pose, it should look like this. At the very most, your knee will be in line with your ankle. So let's grab our blocks if we're using them. If not, just bring your hands to the floor. It's all good. Place them on either side of your foot. And we're just going to ease into this pose. So we're going to gently rock backwards and forwards. Because we spend so much time sitting down in our modern lives, this hip flexor through here gets really tight. It's probably one of the body parts that people complain to me the most in my public classes is, Cindy, my hip flexors are so tight today. So I always suggest that we ease into this pose because if you're already feeling tight and you just immediately put yourself into a stretch that you hold for a while, it can feel uncomfortable at best. So we'll ease in, and when you feel ready, just come into that dragon pose. This can feel uncomfortable. If it does feel uncomfortable, ease out a little bit. You don't have to come to that point of pain. Yin is about being gentle. We come to our first point of resistance, and that's where we stop. Our tailbone is heavy, pointing to the floor. Your shoulders are down your spine. Neck is nice and long. And we're just going to find a steady, rhythmic breath. So you don't need to change anything about your breath, but just let your focus be on it. Just come to focus on your breath. And we're not here for too long. This can be an uncomfortable pose, I know, but find a way to be okay with it. Don't have to be completely still. You can ease out of it a little bit if it's a little bit too much for you. Let's take a few more deep breaths here. And then gently ease yourself out. If you're using your blocks, just bring them away from your mat. And then we're going to find ourselves in pigeon. So that means we'll bend this leg and bring our heel towards our opposite hip. So right heel to left hip. Stretch your other leg straight out behind you. And then just bring your hands to the mat. And we'll just stay here, not for too long. So the reason we do a lot of hip stretches when we want to let go of stored emotion is because our hips are where we store most of our unresolved emotion. So if you've been having a rough day and you haven't dealt with anything that you've felt, you'll end up usually with tight hips. That's why yin, with all its gentle hip stretches, feels so beautiful. Now just bring your focus to your breath here. Don't change your breath. Don't feel that you have to do anything with it, except let it be. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then push down on your hands and gently bring yourself to all fours. Bring your hands under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. And what I'd like you to do is make some circles with those hips. So tailbone to the ceiling, to the side and around. This is also something really beautiful to do for your lower back. If you're having a lot of tension through your lower back. Let's go in the opposite direction. And remember that you're being gentle with yourself. Beautiful. One more time. Good. Beautiful. Coming into your neutral spine. And let's do that exact same thing over on the other side. So we bring one foot forward. Bring your blocks if you're using them, remembering that we don't want our knee in front of our ankle. So grabbing the blocks or just putting your hands on the floor if that is what you're doing today. And easing ourselves into this. So gently rocking backwards and forwards, showing ourselves kindness and compassion. You know, I always tell my people in class that the world isn't the softest place to be. The world can be quite hard, quite punishing sometimes. So why would you also punish yourself? When you've got a moment to yourself, take care of yourself. Be kind, be gentle. Show yourself the love that you need. All right, let's ease into that stretch now. Beautiful. Opening up through that hip flexor. Tailbone is heavy, pointing towards the floor. Shoulder blades tucked down your spine, away from your ears. Your neck is nice and long. And we're just going to bring our focus to our breath. Not changing it, not doing anything to it, but just being. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then gently ease yourself back out of that stretch. If you're using your blocks, just bring them to the side of them, bring them wherever. And then bring that foot in towards your hip. So bending through your knee. your foot coming in towards your hip and your other leg stretched out behind you. Keep your hands just under your shoulders. If you feel any tension in your front knee, please adjust. Do whatever you have to do to make yourself comfortable and safe in these poses. You never have to force yourself into something that a yoga teacher tells you you should be doing. This is your practice and it's all about you and your body. So let's just come back to our breath, focusing on our breath. Remember that we're not trying to change it or do anything to it. We're just letting it be. It's resting in it. We're taking 2 more rounds of breath here. And then we're going to gently ease out of this pose by coming over onto our bottom and then bringing this leg to the front. Beautiful. Stretch your legs out, give them a little shake. Now we're going to do a pose that is going to open our shoulders. What I'd like you to do is come onto your side. Let your head rest on your hand and bring your knees to the front of you. You're taking this hand and you're bringing it into your upper back, so as close to in between your shoulder blades as you can. Let me just sit up and show you what I mean. So your shoulder, your hand rather, should be resting around here. If that's too much, you can just bring it down to wherever you feel comfortable, okay? You're working with your body. So we're here in this position. We've got our hand tucked into our upper back, and then we're stretching out our arm, taking a deep breath in, and then as we exhale, we are gently and slowly rolling over onto our backs. Take any adjustments that you need. Of course, if your lower back is tight, keep your knees bent. If it feels okay, stretch those knees out. And then bring your other arm wherever feels comfortable for you. And come back to your breath, just to focusing on your breath. Not having to change it. Just feeling the natural rhythm. And now bring your focus to your shoulder, the one that's being stretched. And ask if you're holding any tension. Are you maybe resisting the stretch? And if you are, try to surrender. Try to release where you're holding. Take your focus there to that shoulder. And then surrender. And we'll take 2 more rounds of breath here. And if your knees aren't already bent, bend them. And then gently roll back over. Remove that hand and let it just come to rest beside you. Stretch your legs out. Just land in Shavasana. And let your mind travel all around your body. Do you feel a little more open? Let your mind travel to your heart. Does your heart feel a little more open? Do you feel a little calmer in yourself? Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then roll over onto your other side. I am going to take my body all the way over because I want to be able to see you. I want to have my back to you. So coming to lie down on your side, bending your knees, bringing that top hand behind you, just placing it wherever it feels comfortable around your upper back. Extend your other arm and then safely, slowly and gently, we're going to roll over onto that shoulder. You might come off your mat. I certainly have. And that's okay. Keeping your knees bent or letting them stretch out, whatever feels best for you and your body. And bringing your focus back to your breath. Not trying to change it. Just letting it be, just focusing on it. And now let your focus come to your shoulder. Are you holding? Are you tensing your muscles and resisting stretch? If you are, allow yourself to surrender. Allow that shoulder to release and relax. And we're going to take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then gently bend those knees if they're not already bent. And release their hands and come to rest in Shavasana. Whatever type of Shavasana works for you, your traditional pose, lying on your side, on your belly, maybe place a cushion underneath your knees to help support your lower back if it feels a little uncomfortable. And just allow yourself to be here. allow the next few moments to be your final release. Letting go of the emotions that you've been holding on to. Release, relax, and surrender. Allow yourself to stay here in Shavasana for as long as feels good to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until then, take care of yourself. Namaste.